is brought to you by the absolutely fantastic game Planet Coaster. If you like theme park building / management games, this game is a must-have, and it's made by the same people who made Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, so they know what they're doing. The sheer level of detail you can achieve in this game is pure insanity. If you guys want to see the full extent of what you can do, head over to our gaming channel where we are creating a 1-to-1 recreation of Nuka World. And don't forget to check the game out on Steam. So, wait, we're selling out now? Oh, holy crapping crap. Hello, my name is Hunter, the movie reviewing pony, because when it comes to cinema, humans cannot be trusted. Also not fond of cows. They're kinda creepy. Theme park movies are a surprisingly untapped genre. I don't count Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, and really then all we have is Adventureland or Escape from Tomorrow.
As if you could ever hope to escape from me!
Hey, you get out of here, we don't need you till episode 9. Thing is though, can you really blame them? Theme parks are kind of a difficult theme to work with. I guess unless you're building one and then opening one, and then you can, like, I don't know, have this whole existential crisis along the way. So then again, that's pretty much already the plot to We Bought a Zoo.
Matt Damon.
There's a million games for theme parks, but movies, it really doesn't work. But needless to say, no one was really looking forward to Wonder Park. Especially when the director of the movie was fired before the movie was even out. And then a replacement director that's known for directing not much of anything. And with that kind of crap going on, the odds are already stacked against it. So, go ahead, Wonder Park. Impress me. This movie wasn't even on my radar screen. At least that was until I saw the Rotten Tomatoes page, which had people screaming, "Get away! Trailers for this started back in November, and I didn't care. I honestly didn't feel the need to keep an eye on this movie, mainly because the title sounded like something from the 70s. Even with its pretty interesting cast like John Oliver, Jennifer Garner, or Matthew Broderick. Haven't seen him in a while. They did, however, get Stephen Price, who did the music for Gravity, which was absolutely fantastic. And the head writer for this movie, he did the screenplay for Galaxy Quest, which was basically the Spaceballs of Star Trek. In all honesty, it's a mix. It's a great big mix. But even then, I've never been particularly interested in anything Nickelodeon has put to the big screen, and even less so for Paramount, except their upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I'm particularly interested in ripping that apart. Though to be fair to Nickelodeon movies, Adventures of Tintin was pretty okay, but then again, I don't really know what to expect from the same movie that brought us stuff like Barnyard and Clock Stoppers. I suppose Hotel for Dogs was tolerable, but then again, they also did the live-action Charlotte's Web and the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender. And it's even worse when you fire your movie's director before the movie comes out, which means that this movie doesn't have an official director. And now that guy is talking with attorneys, and this movie may end up at the center of a lawsuit. And then we got all sorts of fun to deal with. And on top of all of this, they're not really trying to sell this movie. Honestly, I heard about it, and I didn't care, and they haven't tried to advertise anything past that at this point. So then again, they might be airing a billion commercials on Nickelodeon. I wouldn't know. I don't watch that channel anymore. Overall, the advertising campaign and the events leading up to the release of this film is a mess. It's an absolute mess. A mess that has left this movie tanking at the box office. Right, so this movie dug itself a, quite frankly, enormous hole. Was it able to climb out of the hole? No, not really. Wonder Park is fundamentally flawed from its basic formula of it being flashy and wonderful while trying to convey a somewhat serious story. But because it's kid-friendly and flashy and wonderful, that prevents it from going too deep. And it's not only that. For a movie that's all about using one's imagination, and the magic of a child's imagination nonetheless, it has a surprisingly bland and predictable plot. But it's also saturated with some bland actors and some mediocre acting despite some of the bigger names in this movie. I don't know, maybe they were just in it for a paycheck or something and that's how they saw this. But is it complete and utter trash? Well, no, not particularly, no. Let's go over the good. The effects, the scenery, and the goddamn animation in this movie is fucking fantastic. This movie is beautiful from a scenic standpoint, even if some of the characters are forgettable in their appearance. The animation team did a fantastic job on this. The only problem is it doesn't have a deeper and compelling narrative to back itself up with, which means it really only has eye candy. Now, I did say that the characters are bland, but I wouldn't say that any of them particularly make me want to blow my brains out. Except maybe the bear, but again, that was just one point of the movie. Honestly, the monkey's the most enjoyable character in the movie, and even then, that's only when he's being very, very happy and jumping around and having a good time. Which is pretty much only the film's opening shot and the end of the movie. Other than that, he's actually not even there, and the few times that he is there, he's boring. I'll also bring up the character design. The character design is okay. I mean, I guess they were just like, okay, they look like people, this is good enough. There's a million different animated movies out there that try to make people look like people, and this is just another iteration of that. One thing I don't like is that the main character kind of looks like a boy. In anime terms, this is what we would call a trap. But she's not a bad character, she's an enjoyable character at least. Honestly, all I can really praise about this movie is its tolerable characters, its decent character design, and its fan-fucking-tastic animation. That's it! So what's bad? Oh, this movie is completely and utterly destroyed by its lack of a compelling storyline. Like I said, the flashy and energetic feel of this movie prevents its story from going too deep, and it's already this overglorification of confronting one's inner demons. And that's another thing, we have no real bad guy in this movie. We just have the main character's inner demons, so who do we get mad at? The main character? This seems kind of counterproductive. It also has a ridiculously predictable plot. Its twists are predictable. You can see the tropes coming from a mile away. Oh gee, I guess her mom is really dead. And the plot is more predictable than watching Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows after you read the book. And you know what? That's inexcusable. Because kids are smarter than this, and kids deserve better than this. And come to think of it, I deserve better than this. I'm tired of movies that think that they could just throw up a whole load of flashy lights to keep a kid's attention. It's honestly kind of depressing how bland the plot is for a movie about a theme park that is conceived and built by a small child's imagination. You know how creative those get? Granted, nothing in this park would have met modern safety standards, but still. There's also a boatload of plot holes in this movie. Plot holes that might be filled in with the supposed TV series they're gonna do later this year, but plot holes still. Like how at the beginning of the movie, all the exits didn't work, and then at the end of the movie, suddenly all the exits work. Or probably the biggest plot hole of them all, just buy your kid Planet Coaster or Roller Coaster Tycoon or something. Stop having her clutter up the house. And yeah, I said it, TV show. I don't know how they're gonna make that work. I'll have to keep an eye on that. If it's flashy enough and animated with the same level of finesse as this movie, it might actually be worth watching for the eye candy alone. Paying my cable bill and paying for a movie ticket are two very fundamentally different things. I mean, as long as they do better than Jimmy Neutron, dear God, that was an ugly show. There's also a lot of questionable jokes in this movie. Not questionable in a bad way, but just questionable in what the fuck are they trying to make us laugh? Like, there's a running joke where the bear sleeps a lot, but apparently the bear never sleeps, and I'm just sitting there thinking, you're just making this crap up as you go on. Granted, that's the entire premise of this entire theme park, but it makes no goddamn sense. You need to establish a sort of baseline and then build your crazy off of that. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, leaving me and the rest of the audience to ask all these rather interesting questions, like how does the magic of this magical universe even work? Did she like enter an alternate dimension? Is this like the multiverse theory that she entered an interdimensional portal? Or is she sitting in the woods having a fever dream foaming at the mouth? These are all questions that I'd like answered, and the TV show better make up for this, I'm telling you right now. And even then, if this movie doesn't turn a profit, they might just cancel the whole damn show. They didn't do that with Jimmy Neutron because Jimmy Neutron actually turned a profit, and this hasn't. In fact, it's doing terrible. Going off of the metrics, this cost as much as the Jimmy Neutron movie made, and this is made as much as the Jimmy Neutron movie cost. And when you flip the numbers around, that's not good. And overall, I think that's where this movie stands. Not good. Wonder Park, I love your animation, but my final verdict on this movie is a 4.6. You're flawed, you're really heavily flawed, and you should go back to writer's school. This film's cons outweigh its pros, and it's a shame because it looks like the animators were having a hell of a good time animating it. But even then, its wacky nature prevents it from going too deep, and the story tries to convey itself as deep, and it doesn't work. And what's worse, I don't know how you could go about fixing it. You can't really do something incredibly serious with a theme park. And in my personal opinion, kids need more than a bunch of flashy lights and crazy animation to keep them entertained. And also, I need more than just flashy lights and good animation to keep me entertained. My advice, skip this one. Yeah, kids will find it flashy, but I think kids deserve a better storyline than this. And you know what? So do the rest of us. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you desire building your own theme park, take my advice, just play Planet Coaster. The sheer level of detail you can achieve in this game is hard to believe. And frankly, you'll get more out of it than going to see this movie. So definitely check this game out. It's up on Steam and has been for the past few years. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review.
There once was a guy who created a machine, a thing that would take people to and from some other world. And when he arrived, he had run into a pony who smiled and decided that they both should go see a film. When that movie sucked, they decided to join forces, and then they created a new show called Hunter Reviews.